Sorry. In accordance with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, this channel is not to be viewed by children under the age of 13. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everybody, Giant Key Mark here, and welcome to Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition Part 9. Last we left off, we started the Outsider mission. We went to the Whampoa Garden, spoke with the elders, and found Tong's remains, where we learned that, well, whoever killed him did it in a clean surgical strike, and then made it look like an accident, look like a murder. And talking with some more people over here, we also learned about another elder by the name of Magpie. One of them, a guy named Mo, told us to go talk to Zippy, who was here. We're going to do that. The Zork is busily snacking on a steam bun. As you approach, he wipes off one of his hands and sticks it out towards you. Hey stranger, nice to see you. Zippy Toe Tag at your service. How are you liking Whampoa Garden? I'm Sengshan. Nice to meet you, Zippy. Nice to meet you too. Listen, I know it's a little forward of me to just say hello and whatnot, but I'm interested in giving you a hand if I can. Zippy gestures expansively at the squalid neon-lit streets of Whampoa Garden. This is my home, at least for the time being, and I'd like to stop these killings. We've never met before this, but I know exactly who you are. You're my replacement. The elders had me autopsy what was left of Elder Gong and Elder Nakamura after they got ripped apart, but I didn't want to dig any deeper. So, since I don't know you, and I can smell the Shadowrun a mile away, you've got to be the outside of the ass to stop the killings, right? Zippy tilts his head back, obviously pleased with his amateur deduction. Very astute. That's right. See? I have good eyes. A lot of good eyes, actually. If you're in the market for replacements, only slightly used, and they only come from certified donors, I swear. A hearty belly laugh erupts from the orc, and he slaps one of his thighs in elation. Man, I'd kill myself. That's pretty funny. You a stand-up comedian? With jokes like that, are you kidding me? I'm one of the only trained surgeons around here. I keep the other Whampoans healthy. Got practice down the road. Blind Chen's a pretty good cyber doc, but he's basically an implant specialist, and that's it. How'd you end up here? I did my residency back in the UCAS. Could have become a real MD too if things hadn't gone south for unrelated reasons. Zippy opens his coat, revealing a cyber deck. He pats it proudly. I also deck a little, but I'm better at slicing skin than I see. Whampoa Garden seemed like a good fit for me. You must have a lot of customers. That's the chip truth. I have to change to cover my costs and eat, but it's damn near free service. There's always a waiting list, but it's good, honest work. I like helping my neighbors in the community. We all look out for each other. Somebody messes with one of us, they mess with all of us. That kind of community is rare as gold these days. How many places have an ethos like us? Not the damn corpse, that's for sure. I like this guy already. I've lived a lot of places, done my fair share of shadow running, but this place is special. It's been a long time since I really felt like anywhere was a real home. Zippy looks off past you, toward the Whampoa Garden streets. His expression grows wistful, like he's remembering something from a long time ago. I'm sure I'll move again, but not for a while. I'm not done with this city or these people. So is it fairly peaceful around here? For the most part. Other than these killings, we don't have much by the way of problems. We do information security for the Triads, and that makes us fairly impervious to anyone who wants to start trouble. Anyone starts something, we hit him in the Matrix while our Triad friends hit him in the meat space. Some small-time gangs have tried pushing in here before, but they backed off when they figured out they weren't just picking a fight with Tang and his guys, but both the Red Dragon and the Yellow Lotus. They got the message real quick. What was left of them anyway. I really wonder about New York now. I hope we get a game set in it. Let me ask you about Whampoa Garden. Sure thing. We want to know. What are your thoughts on the murders? There was a sharp intake of breath as Zippy shakes his head. Pretty gruesome business. Gon died for a broken neck. Looked like someone had dredged it around and his arms and legs were cut off. Some skin flayed away too. Nakamura had his throat ripped out by someone with pretty sharp teeth. First I thought it was a devil rat, but the teeth marks were all from something with a humanoid jaw. I had to get a look at Yatunde. From what I saw at the distance, it was the same story. Didn't see much point since I'd seen it twice already. As for Tong, from what Parker told me, it was Gang and Nakamura all over again. You took a look at him yet? Yeah, it's pretty much the same as you described for the others. Zippy shakes his head sadly. Damn, I like Tong. The BTO business is unsavory, but the man had to eat, and his regular sims were good. Generally an all-around nice guy. Friendly with everybody, never had anyone mad at him. There ain't no justice, let me tell you. What can you tell me about the elders? Zippy laughs, shrugging. Well, they're an eclectic bunch, that's for sure. Where to start? Ning's the spiritual leader. Neeg's the spiritual leader here. She's the voice of the Wampoans, I guess. A lot of her close friends are really more of followers, since she's something of a priest for the machine spirits. Maybe it's a cultural thing for people who grew up here, but it's never called to me. Still, she makes a damn fine pot of tea. Eeps the muscle, and it has an encyclopedic knowledge of cyber and bioware. Definitely a good guy to have watching your back. Not too friendly, but you know how it is. You get a lot of cyber, people start wondering if you tear their arms off. Zippy makes a chopping gesture with one hand. He's got moves straight out of Blood Carnival 3: The Reckoning. Terrible movie, but great fight choreography. What about Tang? I don't know much about him, but I think he's got some kind of fetish for automation. Found him cooing over some trays of automated delivery drones in a warehouse once. He works with drones. Has a shop called the Blessed Auto Fab. He was raving about the efficiency of the movement patterns or something. You already know about Tong. Ran Sims, BTL, skill chips. Gon used to be a city planner before he had a nervous breakdown and got involved in statistic analysis. Zippy pauses to collect his thoughts. Nakamura came from Fukuoka and was interested in entertainment, trid mostly. Spent a lot of time analyzing subliminals and ads. Then there was Magpie. She was the chief decker, hot as hell against IC and built her own hardware. She sold to old woman though. Never met anyone who was quite as shrill or nasty when she was mad. She was mad most of the time. I've heard about Magpie. Sounds like she was difficult to work with. That's what everybody said. Me, I never had a problem with her. You just have to know how to finesse her a little, you know? Make sure she thought everything you wanted her. Make sure she thought everything you wanted her to do was her idea the whole time. If you didn't do that, it was like dealing with a goddamn mule. I was good at it, so it was never a problem. Can you tell me more about Elder Magpie? Sure. What do you want to know? Where do you think she went? No idea. One day she was here, the next poof. At first I thought she was on vacation, since she had mentioned wanting to see the Kingdom of Hawaii someday. But it didn't feel right. She would have at least told me she was leaving. It seemed mighty suspicious to me. Nobody else seems to care what happened to her, probably because she pissed them off all so bad. Yeah, I kind of imagine that. A little odd for her to just disappear, don't you think? Of course it's odd. She owed me lunch, too. She was the sort who paid her debts promptly. You might want to check out a shop. It's all locked up, but the other elders have a spare key. Go in there to look around. Even though Magpie was always butting heads with the other elders, they wouldn't have any reason not to let you in. What do you mean, they were butting heads? Magpie and the others never saw eye to eye. She was contrary for the sake of it. Most of the rest had a grand vision of what they wanted this neighborhood to become. Magpie just wanted the deck. She was only an elder because they needed someone with her matrix chops. The last big argument was between her, Neeg, Eep, and Nakamura. It was over something relatively trivial. I think Nakamura wanted to expand the pirate trip business into the Matrix, and she just absolutely refused. Why'd she refuse? She said something about not using up valuable bandwidth for trivial entertainment bullshit. Anyway, it went from there into this rant about how she isn't gonna let Tang expand his drone business any further because it would get too much megacorp attention. They accused her of blocking them just because she could, which is probably true. Lots of screaming. What do you mean blocking them? Everybody needs her matrix skills for their businesses to run properly. There are other deckers, me, Say, or Mo Janebi, but she had the infrastructure. If their project didn't interest her, she wouldn't even give them the time of day. She's a real hardhead about having her time wasted, but she figures if she's not interested in something, it has no value objectively. Kind of a major blind spot if you ask me. Sounds like she was critical. Yes and no. She was, but since she disappeared, Elder Eep's taken over running the matrix infrastructure. He's not as good at it as she was, but his experience with drones makes him the best candidate. They wouldn't entrust something like that to anyone who wasn't an elder, so there you go. See you there, Zippy. Okay, so we got some decent data now. Well, we're gonna go talk to the elders and get the key to the auto fab. Elder, is there anything we could do for you, Saint-Jean? Why didn't you tell me about Elder Magpie disappearing? Why would we have? Her departure from the Wampoans isn't related to your investigation. It happened before the killings began. I'm certain she's just off sulking somewhere. Neek's tone is profoundly indifferent. No doubt she'll come back waltzing. No doubt she'll come waltzing back next month, all full of attitude that life dared to go on without her asking her permission. If she does, we'll welcome her back. Despite our problems with her behavior, her skills make her extremely valuable. I've taken over maintenance of our matrix infrastructure in her absence, but I'm nowhere near her level. The best I can do is ensure nothing breaks down until she returns. I'd like to take a look around her shop. Do you have the key? Yes, but there's a lot of sensitive equipment in there, including our community servers. We don't let anybody who's not one of the Wampawan elders in there. Why would you need to look around? Listen. Listen, you wanted me to find a killer. If I'm going to do that, I have to explore every possibility. Very well. Take the key and look around. Just don't break anything or shut the servers off. Was there anything else? Why did you let the HKPF into Wampawa Garden last month? Tang is taken aback by the question. For a long moment, he says nothing. When his composure does return, he speaks deliberately and with great care. We generally do not let the police into Wampawa Garden, it's true, but in this case we made an exception. The police were very polite and offered to look the other way over some of our deals with the low-hole Jowan pirates. They also made it clear that if we refused, they might not take an interest in our deals with the pirates. They might not only take an interest in our deal with the pirates, they would call in the Special Duties Unit and force their way in. We have repelled the Hong Kong police force before, but when they've tried to push us around, we could probably drive up the Special Duties Unit as well, but the cost and blood would be too high. Neek shrugs non-committally. Since they weren't hunting a Wapoan, we saw no reason to refuse the request. Who were they here for? They didn't exactly say, we didn't ask. The HKPF isn't exactly forthcoming about their business, and we found that the less we know about their interests, the safer Wampawa Garden is. We take an interest in the police, they return the favor. As far as I know, they went into the parking garage. There was a gunfight, and the police never came out. More showed up a few hours later looking for their missing officers. We didn't let those in, though. We just delivered what was left of their bodies to them. Why didn't you let them in? We were willing to allow the group of 4 in because they asked politely. When the reinforcements arrived, there were over 30 of them. We couldn't risk the rest of the police setting up camp on our streets. It could have been a circus, and disrupted our lives and business. I'll be going now. So something happened. Wing K. Kwok. Welcome, sir. Welcome to Kwok Atelier, home of the finest clothing of Wampawa Garden. I'm the owner, Master Tailor Wing K. Kwok. How may I serve you today? I didn't expect the Wampawa Garden to have a tailor's in it. Many people don't. There is a mistaken impression that we Wampawans are only interested in technology and the Matrix, but even technologists need clothing, don't they? And many of us gravitate towards lines of work where added protection is required. I myself am a materials scientist, as well as a keen follower of fashion trends. What kind of materials science? Fiber related, of course, primarily aramid fibers, graphene, compost, and diatoms. It affords me a certain unique perspective when designing clothing that is not only beautiful but defensive as well. I specialize in high fashion body armor, similar to the kind crafted by Securitech or Vaishon Island, but with a much more personal touch. Show me what you got. Ballistic cloth suit. Dang. Shaman ritual garb. Dang. How much is this thing? Okay, I'm definitely gonna take a note of this place. I would love to get a ballistic suit. look fashionable, and also can kick ass. This woman sports brightly hued hair that shifts colors, scintillating with every passing moment. She is powerfully built, a natural athlete, but someone who works out a great deal. Notably, a large shotgun rests on an arcade cabinet next to her. She affords you a short glance as you approach. When she speaks, you note a peculiarly lyrical accent to her voice. "Something I can help you with there, friend. You're throwing me off the game, and I'm trying to beat my high score." Tank War Europa? I haven't seen one of those cabinets in years. The woman's mouth twists up into a wide grin. "I mean neither. I managed to find this one nearby accident, but I heard the music and thought, hold on there, Rainbow, you know that tune." After a few moments, Rainbow's game is suddenly over, her tank obliterated by a barrage of air-to-ground missiles. She hisses her breath through clenched teeth. "Piss on your ma!" Right robbery that was. Right then. Rainbow shakes her head again and turns to face you fully. "You don't seem like them want opponents. They're all I might touch, yeah? Maybe you are too, but you don't advertise it like they do. What's your story?" "I'm looking into the murders that have been happening." That's some nasty work. Bodies hacked up, chunks bitten out of them. Make sure you're loaded for something big and ugly, that's for certain. Where are you from? I can't place the accent. Born and raised in Dublin, on the banks of the Liffey. Spent most of my life there, working security on sacred spaces, historical sites or undeveloped land. The Green Movement was big in those days. It was a bit like being a park ranger, but sure didn't beat some dead end with desk job. Spent a lot of time around County Dublin and Wicklow. I always loved animals, and I found out being a ranger put me in close with them. It was a good time, yeah? Making sure the budding new species like the bogies and centaurs didn't upset the ecology of Wicklow National Park much. Also kept the nastier bits like the Ichusi from running amok across populated areas. An Ichusi? Isn't that a demon horse? Aye, that's right. They're cannibal horses, basically. Nasty burgers that drag people into bogs and drown you. Sometimes people call them kelpies on account of the water plants they pop out of. Anyway, as I was saying, problem was I started to develop this wee knack. It's a small thing. I keep magic from working when I'm around. Spells don't go, spirits fall apart, and the power critters get real feisty, yeah? To make things worse, that was around the time Liam O'Connor threw his coup and formed Tirnanock. With all his fancy talk about elves and ancient magic, 'twas a bit scandalous to have a woman guarding ancient sites that wasn't just mundane, but also killed magic around her, so I got fired. You're older than Tirnanock? Bang on! And I don't look a day over 25, do I? Rainbow flexes one arm, grinning widely. I am Irish, not one of them Norkins. Pack of punters, a lot of them. Always going on about their ancestral lands and the glory of the past and all that bullshit. I saw them kick dozens of old Irish families off their land just because their ears weren't pointy enough or they didn't meet some stupid arbitrary criteria of old nobility. It was that kind of thing that brought back the IRA, just like in the bad old days of the Troubles. I mean, elves looking at the freaking Elder from Warhammer or other cases, elves just being elves, I guess. The skeevers in the new tier didn't pay for the land they took, they just had a pack of boys with guns. Rainbow scrunches her face into a disgusted sneer and the mock spits at the ground. I've always been sympathetic to the little guy in a fight. They offered to pay for my help, so I said yes, simple as that. So you became a terrorist? Faye, don't be so dramatic. They fixed me up with a cyber stitcher and gave me a lot of the kit I got on me now. In exchange for going overseas to work for them. Smuggling, running guns, making contacts in Europe, same kind of shit all revolutionary groups do. Seeing as how my own fam got kicked out of their house, I was glad to do it. I still do work for them these days, but there's a lot less of it. Lady Di cracked down on the dissidents for good. What are you doing on Power Garden? Me? I'm a bit of a big game hunter these days. I get into strange places, look for some kind of paracritter I've not seen before, and then I put a bullet in it. Only the nasty ones though. No point in hunting a Taliscat or such. It's only things like gargoyles, barkus, and whatnot. All the work I did for him in my youth does a good job of keeping me alive. I was out of Jakarta last year hunting one of them Indonesian vampires. You ever heard of them? Call them Liak or Penangalans, depending on who you ask. Their heads and guts come out of their body cavity and they fly around like a giant messy pile of pasta. Ew. Rainbow bares her teeth and pantomimes floating around. Took me a solid 2 months to track her down, but I did. Once the job was done, I asked myself, okay, Rainbow, where's the best place in East Asia to find some action? So Hong Kong it was. All the Kui Whatsits had me in a bigger concentration of odd critters than you usually find in the city. Been spending a lot of time down in the storm drains these days. I heard rumors of a rat king down here, where a mass of devil rats gets all tied together into some kind of big, awful rat beast. Haven't tracked it down yet, but I figured it's only a matter of time, yeah? She pats the barrel of her shotgun affectionately. See you later, Rainbow. An Irish elf older than Tir na Nog. Holy crap. I get elves live a long time, but dang. And she's Irish. Apologies for the Irish accent. I'm not good at. I'm good at with the male, but not the. I'm trying to do it with the female persuasion. Sorry if it sounded butch. The owner of the shop barely looks from his PDA while greeting you. His tone is one of immense boredom. Welcome to Ming Vuong Matrix Materials, aka MVMM. What can I get you? So what you got? Ah, Matrix stuff. Ah, man, that's actually useful. You know, Isabel, if we could get you a decent cyber deck, or get some upgrades for it, we could probably do that. So my day's been mostly alright, just boring. Showered today, felt really good. Nothing here? Huh. Must be a thing for it. I mean, showered, basically, just chilled. The jackpoint. Alright. Display case. This bin is full of assorted chips, peripherals, and add-on modules for cyberdecks. They don't seem to be arranged in any coherent fashion and are spread across the felt surface. Search through the bin. You sift through the display case, searching for anything that might prove interesting. Isabel peers past you into the bin as you search. That's interesting. There's a lot of storage memory, I/O handlers, and active memory in this bin, but I don't see any MPCP hardware, response increasing chips, or anything related to the hot shit decking Magpie was supposed to be into. In fact, you couldn't even build a full deck with this. Without the MPCP, it'll just be a glorified comlink. What do you think that means? Well, if I had to guess, I'd say somebody's cleaned her out. MPCP, response increase, biofeedback filters, and all that. They're easy to move, expensive, and highly illegal. All the rest of this crap is good, but it's nothing you couldn't pick up at any electronics shop. You'd have to know what you're looking for, though. Only a good decker would know what they're saying. Could Magpie have taken them with her? Isabel gestures toward one of the other displays. A pair of small cyber decks sits inside the locked case. I guess so, but if she did that, why would she leave the completed cyber decks? No, I think this was a theft. A theft? An open server. The front of the server's case hangs open, the inner machinery quiet and without power. A clipboard is stuck on the side by a piece of duct tape. Its paper is filled with a long list of programs and their prices. A quick glance over the program sheet reveals names like Bugs, 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 and Black Hammer. Undoubtedly, this was Magpie's attack program's storage machine. Somebody's removed the drives, and it sure wasn't Magpie. Here, look. Isabel gestures to the open server. Near the back, a solitary red light blinks. The main drivers were disconnected properly, but it looks like she modded the server to have a backup drive with its own battery-based power supply. If it was Magpie, she'd have taken that too. Crap. This is a Fushi XB1000, and it looks like the battery power ran out a while ago. The XB1000s are constant write drives. They're dirt cheap and have a ton of capacity, but if they run out of power, they lose their data. We're not going to be able to get anything off the drive. Damn. Bathroom? You search Magpie's bathroom. There's not much in here. A toothbrush, toilet paper, some hairpins, and a collection of cheap makeup. The combination bath shower unit, however, was a mess, as minor flakes of dry reddish substance near the drain. Blood. Dry blood. Prying open the drain cover, it looks like quite a bit of it was shed as well. Shit. Maybe Magpie didn't take a trip after all. With that amount of blood, I'm guessing somebody killed her quietly, then drained her body in the bath. It'd make it cleaner to relocate. This doesn't seem to match the killer's other scenes, though. I'm thinking there's a lot more going on with these murders than what we were initially told. First, they don't even mention Magpie to us, and now it looks like she's been killed. Something's not right here, Senchan. Let's not mention this to the elders. If they're hiding anything, they may start cleaning up their tracks better. Probably a good idea, Duncan. That's why I brought you here. Magpie's desk is the kind of messy most people only associate with Rat's Nest, hoarders and deckers. The surface of the desk is littered with cigarette butts, half-finished cans of soy cap, and scraps of electronics. A towering pile of empty instant noodle bowls sits next to it. Their sides are blazoned with Honest Wank's Instant Old-Time Lamian, and depict a line of top hat-wearing caterpillars dancing with canes. Hey, awesome! I didn't think anybody but me liked Honest Wank's noodles. Flavor like you've never tasted in a package of instant noodles, I promise. Gava taps the side of one container. See? This one's cheesy curry broccoli. I don't know why I never caught on, honestly. Duncan shoots you a sidelong glance, mumbling sotto voce. Gee, who could pass up the delicious taste of cheese, curry, and freeze-dried vegetables? Gaba seems oblivious to Duncan's sarcasm. I know, right? People here have no idea what kind of culinary delights they're missing. Cheese, curry, and broccoli. I mean, cheese, ramen, I can understand. Curry, probably. Broccoli, understandable. All three, I'm more of a chicken guy, a regular chicken broth myself. Search the desk. You gingerly root around the desk, doing your best to avoid the more disgusting piles and spills. It isn't easy. The desk drawers are stuffed with overflowing with receipts, cigarette packs, optical chips, and cables. Most of the contents are boring, useless, and disgusting. While searching one of the bottom drawers, however, a low-quality tin lockbox catches your eye. Someone had pried the latch off, leaving a ragged hole where the lock should be. The interior of the box has several sleeves for storing key cards, all of which are empty. A small note is taped to the interior of the box. Spare storeroom keys. The door is in the rear of Mrs. Yang's restaurant. Do not lose these. Use it only if I am not available to open the stockroom. Stockroom, huh? So who broke the lockbox to get the keys out? Maybe it was one of the elders. They had the key for this place. I guess that's possible, but why would they leave the lockbox here? You could just pack it up and take it to the Wampoa. Leaving it here is sloppy. And look at it. Look at this. Isabel points at the broken latch. Most of the others could crack a mag lock. This was somebody in a hurry. Okay. We need to find a key to Magpie's storeroom. Display case? No. So I was also doing some fake order grinding. Mostly because of this last hunting quest is basically... I literally have Ibuki Doji and I've just been grinding that thing. I'm just like, she was made for this. I've also been working on leveling up Tamama Lancer. Getting her to 100. Let's see if anyone's got the storeroom key. Good for information. You know anything about Elder Magpie? Never met her, thank God. She ran with the Deckers mostly since she dealt in chips and software. I heard she was hard to work with. I think the phrase I overheard was that she shrieked like a Harvey with a fresh corpse. I don't know. We should ask Zippy though. He's a sharp one with a deck, so he'd know her better than most. Right. Better talk to Zippy. So far with this recent event, with the hunting quest, I've actually been able to do a lot more work. Like I've been able to get a lot more materials to get a lot of skills maxed out. I've also been getting some servants up to 100. I just recently got Caster Coup to 100. That's good. Sorry, Zippy. Looks like you got nothing for me. I'd love to at least be able to talk or at least share a meat bun. I heard those are good. Are meat buns any good? Porter lamb. What can you tell me about Elder Magpie? The Wampoan snorts, shrugging his shoulders. That she was a bitch? That I've never met anyone as deliberately contrary as her? There's not much to say. Nobody wanted to hang out with Magpie. Even though she was the newest elder, she acted high and mighty around everyone. She'd block deals and argue against Nakamura and Neig just because she could. Why was she so contrary? It was just her nature. She loved fights and gossip. Any chance to cut somebody else down, she'd take it. I guess I always figured she had some deep-seated insecurities and covered it up by attacking other people. See you later. Kinda sounds like someone I know. But that's a story for another time. Now we gotta figure out how the hell to get access to her stockpile. Demergo. This man has a tired, world-weary demeanor about him. His eyes track your movements with a penetrating, critical precision. Something about him, the lines about his eyes, perhaps, make you suspect he's seen a lot of terrible things happen. He lifts his cup of cheap soy cap as you approach. Let me guess, you're the freelancers the elders are paying to look into the murders around here. That's right. Who are you? Call me Demergo. I'm not one of the Wampoans, but I've been here long enough that they don't think twice about me being here. Demergo drains the last of his soy cap in a large gulp. So, what have you found so far? You're awfully curious for a random guy. Professional curiosity. I used to be with the New York Police Department as part of their Thaumaturgical Research Division. Part of the CSI branch, except I did the magical investigation while the other guys pulled prints and checked blood samples. Demergo tosses a soy cap cup toward the nearby garbage can. It bounces around the rim and then rolls its side. When I hear about shit like this happening, I keep my ear to the ground. Old habits, you know. Seems like you're more cut for this job than I am. Elder Neig asked me to look into the killings after the first murder. She couldn't afford my fee, though, so I took a pass. It's not just the money, either. Demergo shudders, folding his arms across his chest. You see that stuff day after day, you pay a price. It always eats at you. You know what it's like to feel all that sickness and anger every day? To be asked to pick up a murder weapon and relive somebody's death? Feel it go through your neck? Pleading in the voice of that dead woman for a killer to spare you? These days, I'd rather interrogate the living, thanks. That sounds awful. Awful? It's more than awful. It's a goddamn nightmare is what it is. One I couldn't wake up from for a long time. Sometimes you have to cut and run. Start fresh. At least now I can pick my own jobs. I can read objects. It's called psychometry. A little trick I managed to pick up. Don't really know how. I hold something, I can tell you what happened to it. Who owned it, how it killed someone, if someone loved it, or if it was afraid of it. Useful, but it'll tax your heart. Before you ask, no, I'm not going to read anything you find. I already told Neig I didn't want any part of this. You want advice? I'll give you that, but I'm not going to draw on in further than that. So aside from that, is there anything I can help you with? Tong wasn't afraid when he died. He was caught by surprise. Demergo arches an eyebrow. That's not what I would have expected. With the amount of mess at each scene, the victim should have at least left behind a hell of a lot of fear and pain. You sure? Very sure. Tong died tonight, so the astral signature hasn't had time to fade. There were only a sense of perfunctory accomplishment. That sounds like this wasn't a crime of passion. A planned attack would have had that kind of resonance, in my experience. It's possible the gore show is to throw off anyone looking for the actual reason. Demergo closes his eyes and starts to nod. Yeah. If I wanted to kill someone to get away with it, I try and point the finger at some kind of monster. Demergo opens his eyes and smiles with a thin, humorless grin. Basic Investigation 101 is usually the simplest explanation, but don't discount other possibilities. You think the mess wasn't incidental? It's a possibility. Ask yourself this. If the mutilation happened after Tong's death, why would a killer perform that kind of ritual? Serial killers who engage in that kind of ritual don't feel perfunctorily about it, in my experience. It tends to feel more like they're taking communion. It's a religious or sexual feeling most of the time. If this didn't feel that way, I don't think the killer is actually pathological. What can you tell me about the Wampoans then? I don't know much. Even though I've been here for almost 2 years, I'm an outsider. They don't really accept anyone who's not as much of a tech nut as they are. I'm just a crazy mage that lives down the road. Demergo pauses and looks off into the distance as he collects his thoughts. Eve's got some heavy-duty cyberware. Basically, he's an enforcer for the rest of the council. He doesn't seem to set much policy. Neeg's a shaman that worships machine spirits. It's all a bunch of hokum, if you ask me. Magic is magic. Whatever you want to call the source is fine by me, but don't ask me to believe in the great spirit of electronics. As for everybody else, they tend to be an okay bunch. A bit strange, but that's fringe culture for you. They scrounge tech, rebuild it, sell it off. Some of them even have their own auto fab shops. Their stuff's pretty high quality too. People from all over Asia come to shop here if they need something rare or unusual. Tiny little community, all things considered. What do you know about the murders then? They started a couple of weeks ago. Elder Gom was the first to go. That's when Yeeg asked if I could look into them. He was ripped apart, arms wrenched out of their sockets, skin flayed away with a razor-sharp knife. The rest have been the same. Whatever did it sure didn't care about it being a clean death. Demergo lowers his voice, leaning in towards you so that only you can hear. The funny thing is, the Hong Kong police force was out here a few weeks before that. Maybe a month ago tops. I know that doesn't seem like much, but the Wampoans don't usually let the police in here. That by itself is odd enough, but it gets even stranger. The officers were loaded to bear too. Big guns, heavy armor with NBC seals. The works. They went into the parking garage near here, and there was some kind of gunfight. Never made it back out. When backup showed up, the Wampoans chased them away. Why would they let the cops in and chase them away? That's exactly the kind of question you should be asking, and that the elders refused to answer when I asked. Demergo shrugs. Go take a look for yourself if you want. Watch out though. A gang's taking up residence in there dealing drugs and BTLs. They call themselves the Red Spear. Not too violent if you don't push them, but be careful what you say. See you later then. This is getting intense. Keita. This dumpy-looking man is busily hawking a variety of grilled spherical treats of various sizes. Some are sold individually, some are skewered on sticks, and some are packaged up in sets of 4 or 6. The sign on the front of the cart reads, Keita's 1 yen yatai. A cacophony of small trit screens are attached to the cart, each playing a different trit show. Interested in you in some dango, takoyaki, maybe a nice nikuman? That's a pork bun, but with Japanese twist. Any kind of tasty Japanese treat you can imagine, I've got it. Maybe some curry fish balls are your speed. Keita will give you your heart's desire, providing that desire is on my menu. Let me have some dango. Your wishes at my command, good sir. Keita deftly pulls out one of the dango sticks from the cart and drops it into the grill. A small robotic arm slides out from the cart and begins turning the stick until the balls of rice flour are toasted a toasted brown color. Lifting them from the grill, Keita dips the entire stick in a tub of sticky brown sauce before handing it to you. Snack is spread with a sweet and salty flavor reminiscent of sesame seeds and soy. The balls inside are pleasantly warm and surprisingly chewy. A bit like eating raw dough, but without the attendant chalky taste. Keita leans back, studying you intently. The trid projections from his cart cause his face to be lit with a constantly shifting array of rainbow hues. So what brings you to Wampoa Garden, my friend? Somehow I doubt it's just street food. I'm looking into the killing of the Wampoan elders. Keita shivers, wraps his arm around his body. I've been hearing a lot about that. Haven't looked too closely though, just none of my business, you know? What can you tell me about the people here? We're tech heads, deckers, riggers, trid pirates, and everything in between. If I had to define this place, I'd say it's Asia's mecca for people like us. As for the elders, I'll give you the basics. I'm a small fry, so we're not exactly on social terms. Neeg's some kind of crazy tech witch. She summons up spirits and casts spells, and works as the spiritual center of the tribe. She's a lot craftier than she seems, too. She has this mother-to-everyone act going on, but I've watched her manipulate people into doing all kinds of stuff they wouldn't normally do, and they thought it was their idea the whole time. Magically, you mean? No, I don't think so. She's just really good with people. Eep's a killer, addicted to cybernetic implants. He always has to have the newest and freshest gear. Funny thing is, I've never seen him fight. I kinda get the impression he's a coward. He'd rather let one of his buddies handle a problem than do it himself. All I know about Tang is that he loves drones and does a little decking. Frankly, I find him kinda boring. All he talks about is neural networks, dark knowledge, and evolution of machine learning. Like I said, boring. What's with all the trid screens? Keita beams and gestures excitedly at all of them. You like them? I love Trid operas. Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Indonesian, it doesn't matter. This way I can watch all my favorite shows without missing a beat, and I can work all at the same time. Pirated Trid is my other business. I rip the streams from the Matrix, tap right into their corporate feeds, and resell them out on chip out here. Kid's face falls a bit, and his enthusiasm wanes. I wish I could pay the bills, but my food court's a lot better than that. I don't know why, but most of the other opponents seem to like Sim over Trid. They don't know what they're missing, though. One episode of Thousand Cranes of Autumn, and they'd be hooked for life. I'm just at the part where O-Rin has confessed her love to Takayama, but he's got to get his mech suit out on the front lines of Mars, so he can't be with her. Downright heartbreaking, I tell you. That sounds like an interesting show, alright. Eyes twinkling, Kata leans forward in breathless excitement. Oh, you have no idea. 312 episodes chronicling a noble mech pilot and the tumultuous love affair he has with a space station's governor's daughter. The pathos, the majesty, the Battle of Lagrange 1 spans 5 episodes just by itself. For some reason, I guess it just didn't resonate with the wider public. I don't know why. Who doesn't want to see a Trid show about giant flying robots, love, betrayal, and spies? I think we now know what happened to the Gundam franchise in this universe. I gotta stop myself before I get too carried away. Was there something else you needed? Got any thoughts on the murders? Yeah, ignore them. Kato shrugs indifferently. I saw the crowd down at Tong Sensory Carnival earlier tonight, but I didn't know the guy very well. I'm a Trid fan. He liked The Sims. Not a lot of crisscross between us. See you later, Kata. Okay, let's go to the parking garage then. Let's see if we can bypass. That's far enough, guy. The woman hefts her weapon, tossing a nod toward the gangers behind her. This lot's our turf. If you're looking for a fix, you're welcome to trade, but if you're not here for business, clear the hell out. You try and wander around on our turf, we're gonna have to air you out. So what do you say? You can for a little pick-me-up, a little nitro to give you some pep, maybe you want some chips to take that edge off. If you want it, I got it. What happened in the fight here? As far as I know, some police showed up looking for somebody. They got in here, all of them got killed. Whoever they were after was long gone by the time they showed up. Used to be a lot of Apoans living here. They all cleared out, muttering about ghosts and shit like that. Have you heard anything else about the murders? Nothing much. I tell you what, though. I've got a guy named Kang, and he was down in the storm drain system last week. Something was moving down there. Big too, man-sized. It wasn't speaking any language Kang understood. Kid beat feet back here as fast as he could. Dumbass dropped the storm drain key on the way out, though. If you want to go looking for whatever it was, you'll have to get a new key from somebody else. Kang stole his from a city worker. Who else might have the key to the storm trains? There's a guy named Porter Lamb who's got keys to pretty much everything. He's somewhere between a cop and a handyman. UN mentioned some elf with some crazy colored hair who managed to scam a key. He said she hunted paracritters down there, devil's rats and shit. Some of these BTLs you're selling look an awful lot like they came from Tong's shop. Yeah? So what? Why do you care? So if you stole this from Tong's, maybe you saw something I could use in my investigation. Yeah, I guess that's fair. It's like this. Broken Thumb UN was walking down the street and sees this guy go into Tong's joint right at closing time. Tall guy hunched over, had this shitty gray rain poncho draped over him. Now, Ewan figured this was weird as hell, so he posts up and waits. He figures the guy will come out soon, because Tong's closing up shop. Nothing for 15 whole minutes. Guy comes out, hustles down the street with nobody saying boo. I figured he was waiting for an ebb in the crowds. Ewan sees some blood smeared on the door, though, so he goes check it out. Inside, total carnage. But you know what? Tong's not going to be using his gear anymore, so to hell with it. He jacks a lot of it. Business is business, I guess. Damn right it is. That's all I know. The guy had to be the killer. Tall, gray rain poncho, hunched over. Also smart about how he came and went. Can I look around this garage? Man, are you deaf? What the hell did I tell you? No, you goddamn well can't wander around our turf. And Ganner shakes her head, mumbling something about idiots with no memory. Do you know who Connie Cheng is? I work for her. She could do you some favors in the future. Okay, that's a compelling argument, but why the hell do you care about the garage? I'm investigating the murders of the elders. The gunfight in with the HKPF might be related. Huh. Well, we're only set up here because the original occupants are too scared of ghosts and demons to come back. There's blood on the floor, so what? The elders told us it was alright if we moved in here. Seemed happy to have us camped out too. Honestly. We just want to sell chips, that's all. Knock yourself out. Okay. Bloodstains. Dried blood and bullet holes pockmarked the floor. Pillars and walls of the parking garage. Judging by the amount of blood staining the floor, multiple people died here. To call the scene bloody would be to do it a disservice. This was a massacre of tremendous proportions. Look at this thing, Sean. Duncan points to several scratches on the floor and in the pillar. These scratches look like they were from a long bladed weapon like a machete or like a sword or a machete. With the number of bullet holes in the walls and cars around here, they must have just been spraying wildly. Our killer must have fought the HKPF in here and cut them apart, since they never found the body. I gotta assume the killer got away. Duncan checks the chamber on his assault rifle. I tell you what, I don't want to have to fight this maniac at close range. I really hope we don't either. This guy sounds crazy. Dry blood and clots clog the drain. As you look closer, however, something catches your eye. An off-red color that doesn't match the hues of the gore around the drain. Bending closer, it appears to be a small nugget of some kind. Let's fish the item out. The nugget, upon closer inspection, is a chunk of some kind of synthetic ferroplastic. It's got ragged edges as if it was broken off of a larger object. A number of small markings are partially obscured by scratches. Let's decipher the emblems. Brushing away some of the dust, you peer at the fragmentary bit of ferroplastic. The scratches and markings on the nugget seem to vaguely familiar, and after a moment it strikes you. You're not seeing the entirety of the markings, as the rest remain on the parent piece of ferrocrete. Where the scratches have been completed, they would read Renraku Kakaku Kabushiki Gaisha, the Japanese name for Renraku Applied Sciences, the branch of Renraku Asia responsible for material science. So we're dealing with a Renraku. If that's the case, sounds like we're dealing with a Red Samurai. Oh, oh, not them. If you don't know who the Red Samurai are, they're basically Renraku Special Forces. Very tough. A hunched out guy in a gray raincoat who might be a Red Samurai. This is getting really interesting. But I'll save that for next time, because it's getting a long episode already. We're going to go ahead and talk with Porter Lamb and see if we can get the key. I'm Dragon King Mark, and next time on Let's Play Shadowrun Hong Kong, we're going to go talk to Porter and close in on this killer. It's definitely feeling more like a Renraku Samurai here. If that's the case, what is the Renraku Samurai doing in Whampoa Garden? And what's going on with the murders? But we'll check it out next time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. Hit the bell icon to stay notified of when I'm going to upload or stream, and I'll see all of you next time. Laters.